SDG&E makes a multi-million-dollar deal to settle a lawsuit over the 2007 wildfires. And it's a week after the primary, but a couple of races are still squeakers. I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on Evening Edition, we'll have the latest vote count on races that have been too close to call.
And I'm Peggy Pico. Tonight at the Roundtable, a discussion on who should and shouldn't use cholesterol-lowering drugs that have been linked to fatigue. And how one San Diego group says you can keep cool this summer by having your very own power grid.
And one of the toughest sporting events in the country is about to start in Oceanside. You'll meet a San Diegan who's taking the challenge. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. San Diego Gas and Electric will pay $27 million to settle a lawsuit. It was filed by the city of San Diego over the 2007 wildfires. KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma is in the news center to tell us more about the settlement. Amitha, the city had sued over its losses from those fires. What kind of losses are we talking about here?
Dwayne, the city sued SDG&E after the 2007 fires for damage to its property and firefighting costs. It is not clear if the $27 million settlement with SDG&E actually covers all of the city's 2007 fire costs. The city attorney's office has not responded to that question, but in a news release, City Attorney Jan Goldsmith called the settlement a fair one and one that avoids years of additional litigation, including a trial and appeals.
Now, Amitha, this isn't the first settlement. SDG&E has paid quite a bit of money in settlements over the lawsuits, right?
Yes, Dwayne, SDG&E has paid over $1 billion so far to people who lost their homes and businesses in the 2007 fires, which were started by SDG&E power lines. The company expects to pay hundreds of millions of dollars more to settle remaining lawsuits, which are not insured. The company is hoping regulators will allow it to bill customers for those uninsured costs. The Public Utilities Commission is considering that request.
KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma. The last of the classes started with a protest at one San Diego public school today. Teachers and students rallied at Hearst Elementary in Del Cerro. 6 teachers are set to be laid off there at the end of the month. District-wide, about 1,500 teachers could lose their jobs. Late last week, the teachers' union agreed to limited bargaining to bring back at least some of those teachers. But protesters today say they want to keep all their teachers without losing pay raises and without furlough days.
If we have the support of all of our parents and the students and they listen to us, I think that we actually can get the word out and put the heat back on the board and show them that this is not what we want.
The school district faces a deficit of nearly $122 million. Until last week, union leaders said the district's budget numbers were unreliable, but the California Teachers Association has done a review, and union leaders say it's clear the financial challenges aren't going to disappear. Highway patrol officers could be furloughed for the first time in state history. Their union has agreed to 8 furlough hours a month. That's about a 5% pay cut. Union leaders say it won't affect public safety. The deal still has to be approved by members and the state legislature. Budget talks are continuing in Sacramento. Democratic leaders say they're less than $500,000 apart from the governor in their negotiations. They're trying to close a nearly $16 billion deficit. 10 people were arrested outside the Capitol today during a protest over cuts to social services. 1 week after the election, thousands of provisional and mail-in ballots are still being counted tonight. The registrar says just under 18,000 ballots still have to be tallied. In the latest count, Scott Sherman is holding his lead in the race for the San Diego City Council's 7th district seat. As long as he keeps 50% plus 1, he will not have to be in a runoff in November. We're still waiting to learn who will be in the runoff against Congressman Brian Bilbray. Scott Peters has a lead of 803 votes over Lori Saldana. And we've also been watching one judicial race very closely. Garland Peede is ahead of Gary Creep by just 79 votes. California voters will decide whether genetically modified foods need special labels. The proposal will be on the November ballot. If it passes, manufacturers would have until 2014 to add the label for foods with genetically modified ingredients. It would be the first such law in the nation. If you're tired a lot, you may want to check the dose of your cholesterol-lowering medication. A new UC San Diego study links fatigue and statins. Peggy Pico is talking with the study's lead researcher and a cardiologist about your options.
About 1 in 4 American adults take cholesterol-lowering drugs known as statins. But lately, there's been a surge of research about the side effects of those widely prescribed drugs. Joining me to talk about her newly published research on the link between statins and fatigue is Dr. Beatrice Golomb, the Associate Professor of Medicine at UC San Diego School of Medicine. Also with us is cardiologist Mimi Garneri. She's the founder of Scripps Center for Integrative Medicine. Thank you both for joining me here today. I'm going to start with you first. Let's talk about what class of drugs in this study. It was statins. What specific drugs did you actually look at?
We looked at the drugs that people will know best by their trade names, Zocor and Pravachol, and we chose these two agents because they're at the extremes of being the most fat-soluble and the most water-soluble, and these properties have been thought to maybe contribute to differences between the statin drugs. Also, they were the most widely prescribed statins. Then Lipitor surpassed them, but they were the number 2 and number 3 most prescribed statins as well.
But all statins would kind of qualify for this study.
The purpose of choosing those two was the hope that they would reflect statin properties generally, particularly if the findings were concordant.
Okay, and Dr. Golomb, what were the side effects that you found in your study?
Well, this particular study looked specifically at the issues of energy and fatigue with exertion, because these are problems that are widely reported by patients on statins. This was a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trial, so patients didn't know if they were taking statin or placebo, and we asked them about their energy level and fatigue with exertion at baseline, and we asked them about any change in this on follow-up.
Okay, and Dr. Garneri, now, this isn't the first side effect that's been reported. The FDA issued some warnings back in February for label use for other serious side effects like liver problems and things and memory loss. What has been your experience in seeing patients who are on statins?
I think the most important thing is to know when to use a statin. Statins are anti-inflammatory. They can decrease the risk of a cardiovascular event or a stroke. What's important to know is they can deplete the body of important nutrients like CoQ10 or ubiquinone, fatty acids in the membranes, vitamin E in the cell membrane, and even carnitine. So we need to know what are the downstream effects of these drugs, and that actually helps us to understand why this great study found fatigue.
Well, let's talk about, if you could briefly explain what cholesterol is and how it kind of moves through the body and why it's a problem.
Most cholesterol comes from the food we eat. If we eat from an animal, if it's an animal product, whether it's beef, pork, or lamb, or chicken or turkey, or even fish, it has cholesterol. Cholesterol in itself is not the problem. What happens is it gets into the lining of the blood vessel and it is changed. It becomes oxidized, or something we say glycosylated, acetylated. Then it's picked up by these white blood cells, and those white blood cells, when they break, something called macrophages, damage the lining of the blood vessel. So it's not so much the cholesterol that's the problem, it's what happens to it, usually the result of inflammation, that leads to the issues.
And the issues being stroke, heart attack?
Absolutely. I mean, mainly stroke and heart attack. Those are the two big ones, and also blockage in the arteries to the legs, what we call peripheral vascular disease.
Okay. And I wanted to come back to you, Dr. Golomb, and ask, how do statins actually lower cholesterol? How do they break up those white blood cells cholesterol packs that are in the blood vessels?
Well, in principle, the reason why they lower cholesterol is by blocking the rate-limiting step in the pathway that produces cholesterol. It actually turns out that there are other mechanisms as well, but I think that might be too complicated for this venue.
Well, in talking about mechanisms, tell us how do they cause fatigue?
Well, the presumption is that one of the major ways by which they cause fatigue is relates to some of the things that Dr. Garneri mentioned, which is that among the things that they inhibit production of are coenzyme Q10, which is directly involved in cell energy production and is also the key fat-soluble antioxidant that's made by the body. And it turns out that antioxidants are particularly important for the energy-producing parts of cells. They're the leading target of what's called oxidative stress that antioxidants protect against. Cholesterol, it's not just the case that these substances like CoQ10 and something else called heme involved in energy production are part of the pathway that statins inhibit. It's also the case that cholesterol, which is also produced by every cell in the body, has important functions including transport of key fat-soluble vitamins, including coenzyme Q10, vitamin E, carotenoids, which are the precursors for vitamin A, and even vitamin D, even though it has its own transport protein, actually travels in the blood in association with lipids and is taken up into cells by the LDL receptor.
So it's important to have some cholesterol, but not an excessive amount of the bad cholesterol, as we're used to talking. I don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to ask you both, who should be taking statins? I'll start with you first, and then I think I'll ask you who should not be taking statins. So who, after all of this study and the new knowledge that we know, should be taking statins?
My index of whether any preventive medicine should be used is, for that group of individuals, has the benefits been shown to exceed the risk using outcomes that objectively balance risk and benefit, like all-cause mortality or all-cause serious adverse events by the old definition. And by this criterion, men under the age of 70 or 75 who have heart disease on average receive benefit, life extension, etc. But actually women, even if they have heart disease, or elderly, even if they have heart disease, generally have not been found to have life extension or all-cause benefit, nor people who are at low risk.
And that would just let me say, she said, okay, so women, not so much. So what is, just very briefly, an alternative to statins?
We have lots of options. First is to eat lots of fiber. Limit animal products in your diet. And then we have many things like niacin, for example, lowers LDL, the bad cholesterol. We have nutraceuticals like citrus bergamot, which lowers LDL. We have plant stanols, which lowers LDL. So if you come and see a good integrative cardiologist, for example, we're going to get you eating right, get you on the right nutraceuticals. And there's one thing we have to say to your audience, which is the statins also affect thyroid function, conversion of T4 to T3, and that can also explain the fatigue. So we can't forget that part as well.
Well, you can hear a lot more about this discussion, obviously a huge discussion, on our website at kpbs.org. Dr. Ganeri, Dr. Gollum, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
The San Diego Meals on Wheels program has been serving seniors since the early 1970s. Besides food, it's also committed to reducing the isolation experienced by so many elderly. Now the organization is expanding to serve the growing baby boom generation. Meals on Wheels provides 2 meals a day for 2,300 seniors throughout San Diego County year-round. Debbie Case is a longtime volunteer who is now CEO of the organization. She says the elderly population is changing and they have to adapt.
So many of our seniors are over the age of 85, about 49%, largest growing percentage of the population. Then we have our baby boomers, and you know what? Their tastes are totally different than our older client, and we have to start responding to those needs.
So begins the demolition by volunteers, board members, and the CEO on the old meal center to make way for its new bigger kitchen to provide clients more food choices.
So that we can have multi-menus, whether it's healthy Latin cuisine, which we've just finally developed, a 6-week plan on that, or just regular healthy meals.
Kay says it will take about 3 months to complete the redesign, but they won't miss a day of service working through the construction process. From knocking out this small service kitchen to converting piping, venting, and electrical systems for a full commercial kitchen. Paul Scott is one of the many volunteers who delivers meals to the elderly.
And they often just chat for a little bit. It's also an opportunity for me to connect with them, see if there's anything unusual that's happening that's maybe I need to report or let people know.
Saquon recently donated $5,000 worth of gas cards to Meals on Wheels. The cards were given to about 200 volunteers who spend their own money to drop off the food. The San Diego County Library System has been named Library of the Year. It's being honored for programs going beyond books, from foreclosure assistance for homeowners to help for Iraqi immigrants looking for work. The award comes from Library Journal magazine and an educational publisher, and it includes $10,000. The county says the money will go toward library materials. One of the would-be owners of the San Diego Padres may have bowed out. UT San Diego reports movie mogul Thomas Tull has withdrawn his bid for the team. The paper quotes a source who says the deal didn't make economic sense. Former Padres slugger Tony Gwynn was part of Tull's group, but Gwynn didn't have a financial stake in the deal. 4 other groups are also looking to buy John Moore's majority interest in the team. The asking price, $800 million. The San Onofre nuclear power plant has been offline since January. It may remain shut down through the peak summer season. The closure has a San Diego group offering a surprise alternative. Peggy Pico is talking about that at the roundtable.
Increased rate hikes and San Onofre's power plant problems are very likely to impact those who want to do things like, use an air conditioner this summer. But there may be an alternative source of power, that is to start your own energy grid and switch from SDG&E to a community nonprofit cooperative like San Diego Energy District Foundation. Here to talk with us about energy co-ops is my guest, Lane Sharman, co-founder of San Diego Energy District Foundation. Lane, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I guess the first and most important question is it actually feasible for a large community in San Diego County to run an energy co-op?
Absolutely. It's being done in 5 states in the country. It's already been accomplished in Marin County. And it's also being accomplished in San Francisco and Sonoma. So I see absolutely no reason why it could not be accomplished here in San Diego.
Where does this co-op power, if it's not coming from SDG&E or PG&E up in the north, where's the power coming from?
Well, that's a great question. There are wholesalers that operate in the state of California that provide wholesale procurement services. And that's exactly what Marin County did. Marin County contracted with Shell North America. San Diego could contract with any one of a half dozen companies to procure energy and deliver it into the local grid.
Right, and this isn't the first time, though, for San Diego County. It was tried in 2005 to get started. Why didn't it work then?
Well, I think the economics and the dynamics were a little different then. There was a study that showed that it would have been a little difficult at the outset to sell energy at a rate that was competitive with San Diego Gas and Electric. It ended up being about 5% more than San Diego Gas and Electric, and that was really dead on arrival, I think, in San Diego. So today, we feel that the price of energy, as well as the decreasing price of solar, makes the economic dynamics quite different and very feasible.
Talking about cost, let's talk about the cost of using a co-op. How does it compare to, let's say, a typical SDG&E residential customer?
Well, we have to remember that by being only an energy-only cooperative, we don't have any of the costs that San Diego Gas and Electric currently has in terms of maintaining the grid, because it is, after all, Peggy, an energy-only cooperative. And second, it doesn't have a large base of stockholders that it has to appeal to, as well as a parent company. So it does have dramatically different costs than a large investor-owned utility.
But you mentioned SDG&E actually has to cover the maintenance of the delivery system, so to speak.
That's correct.
Is that going to be a problem in the future? Are they going to charge for that?
They will always charge for that. And in fact, the CCA, Community Choice Aggregation entity that's formed in San Diego, every ratepayer will continue to see on their SDG&E bill services for transmission and distribution and public benefit. The only difference will be is that they are now procuring their energy, much like their vegetables, they're procuring their energy from a different source. And so it creates energy competition in San Diego.
It does. So how does this actually get going here in San Diego?
Well, that's another great question. There is always a little bit of a fear of the unknown and starting something new. But we have a great model in Marin and San Francisco and Sonoma, and certainly in the other states. I think it really, during the remainder of the year, boils down to a lot of good education, a lot of undoing maybe some of the fear of starting something new, and finding out that San Diego Gas and Electric doesn't make a profit from energy. It makes a profit from distribution and transmission. So San Diego Gas and Electric does not view this as competition, and states out in the open and publicly that they support customer choice, San Diego Gas and Electric would be, I think, probably a beneficiary of having more competition and more interest.
Absolutely. So that's interesting. They don't see it as competition. I learned something there. Well, we have more information and links on our website, kpbs.org, about this. So if people want to know how to do it and want to know about that meeting that you talked about to get some more education, they can go to your website through our website as well. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure, Peggy.
Climate researchers say an El Nino may be brewing in the Pacific. The Weather Service has issued an El Nino watch, giving it a 50% likelihood for this fall. El Nino is a warming of Pacific Ocean temperatures that occurs about every 4 to 12 years. It can cause above average rainfall in San Diego, as well as potentially damaging waves along the coast. Summer temperatures in San Diego are expected to be about average along the coast and warmer than average inland. Here's a look at the forecasts for the next few days. What may be the most grueling endurance test in all of sports begins tomorrow in Oceanside. The race across America is a nearly 3,000-mile nonstop bike race. This year, a man from San Diego is doing it. KPBS reporter Tom Fudge has his story.
San Diego is a good place to train because there are plenty of steep slopes. But if you want to know what it's like to pedal through the June heat of the desert, you got to bundle up.
Doing this desert training on an overcast day on the coast, it's difficult. You got to add 4 or 5 layers.
Mike Wilson should know because he's about to strike out across the country in a race that most people are just happy to finish, to say nothing of winning. Wilson is an amiable 38-year-old born in Alabama who still addresses people as sir or ma'am. He says he got into cycling in his early 30s when he was carrying about 260 pounds on his 6'2" frame.
And a friend gave me a bicycle and said, you know, if you want to lose a little bit of weight, try riding a bike up and down the Strand in Coronado. And so I did that once, and then I did it twice.
Then he rode 100 miles back and forth across the Strand. Soon he did a 200-mile trek.
And I thought, well, if I can do 200 miles, why not one of these 500-mile races? I've heard of this race called Furnace Creek. It's like 509 miles out in Death Valley, and, you know, that sounds crazy, and I feel like I'm kind of crazy, so let's do something crazy.
Wilson solved his weight problem, incidentally. He's now 167 pounds. But if you want to talk about crazy, Furnace Creek was nothing.
The rules for Race Across America are really pretty simple. The cyclists begin here at the Oceanside Pier, and they head east along a designated route. And the first person to cross the finish line in Annapolis, Maryland, wins. There are no requirements to take breaks. There are no restrictions on when you can ride.
In other words, if you can ride nonstop with no sleep, meals, or bathroom breaks, more power to you. Hell on Two Wheels is a book about the race. Author Amy Snyder says the drive to go nonstop for 8 days with as little as 3 hours a day of sleep causes people to endure tremendous pain. Riders become mentally disoriented. In some cases, they lose their ability to hold their heads up when those muscles fail with fatigue. Wilson quotes the late Slovenian cyclist Juri Robic, a 5-time winner of RAM, as the race is commonly called.
He always said this expression, which is, I hate this race because during the race I hate it more than everything. I hate it. I can't stand it. I don't want to be here. I hate this. But every other day of my life, it's all I can think about.
Although Wilson is a solo cyclist, he's not doing RAM alone. His girlfriend, a nurse anesthetist, will follow along to help keep him healthy and fed. In fact, Wilson has a whole volunteer crew that will follow in 3 vehicles. They'll shield him from cars, massage him, encourage him, and repair his bikes. Wilson's day job is helping to run a sporting goods company, but many of his volunteer crew members are retired police officers, with whom he recently cycled to Encinitas for breakfast.
When RAM came up, both Diana and I said, well, if you ever need help, if you want somebody to be on your team, let us know. And we were both very honored when in, say, like November, December, he said, you still good for it? We both said, sure.
All you got to do is give him a chance.
But why would Mike Wilson put himself through this?
I don't know that part. Can't answer that one.
There's no prize money. We all sat around and said, what's the prize at the end of the ride? And he said, nothing, because it's there, sort of thing. It's a guy who climbs Mount Everest. Same thing, you know, he does it because it's there, and he feels the desire to do so. It's an accomplishment.
Mike Wilson is a rookie in the race across America, and he says for a rookie, just finishing is like winning a gold medal.
And we will be following Wilson's progress in the race across America every day on our website at kpbs.org.
Tonight in the public square, we had a lot of comments on our Facebook page about our interview with Superior Court Judge candidate Gary Creep. You may recall he's the lawyer who continues to argue President Barack Obama is not a U.S. citizen. Bunmi Esho wrote on Facebook, how did he get on the ballot? I mean, really? And why am I hearing about this now? Ben Dunmar wrote, how does a guy like this get through that much schooling with so much ignorance? And Jamie Hanron Han wrote, why are people like this not being laughed out of the public arena? You can weigh in on this conversation and others by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course, you can always email us at kpbs.org.
And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.